So I went to the zoo yesterday, and this woman, who's obviously a conservationist, I don't think you'd work at a zoo if you weren't, was saying about how this certain type of vulture was an endangered species, and that because of the lack of these vultures to eat the dead carcasses, there was feral dogs taking the place of them to eat the corpses, and that they were overpopulating, and it was causing a disruption in that area. That, they're rabid, and they're spreading their rabies, and they're attacking children, and things like that. And that we have to do our part to preserve nature as it is today, and try to, rebuild and make it as it was, which is impossible. But it comes down to a deeper issue. And that is that people are not willing to accept evolution and progress. There is a reason things change. There is a reason we call global warming climate change. Because nature does not get better or worse. It just changes. It only gets better or worse for us, metaphysically, as an ideal. So, when you ask yourself, does the reduction of these vultures in exchange for the uprising of these feral dogs, is that better or worse for humanity? And if you ask me, it's better for humanity. On the surface, it seems worse, because feral dogs running amok, biting children and adults alike, and, it's just creating chaos, might seem worse. But when you look at it from a perspective of when society eventually adapts and accepts the feral dogs as the new vultures, they will then take steps to preserve humanity. They will create jobs out of hunting squads to keep them at bay. They will take better care of their kids and not be so, ambivalent and just let them run around outside. Human beings will be more pressured to look after themselves and look after their kin. So that is why, the population burst of these feral dogs is a good thing, because it forces humanity to reconsider its ideals and change and evolve. So you always have to take that into consideration. You can't just assume just because you kill something it's bad, nor can you assume just because you save a life it's bad or good. Or, you always have to look at things 5 to 10 years in the future. Like, when I say I hope for somebody's death, let's say David Icke. Let's say I hope for David Icke and his stupid-ass kids to die. It has nothing to do with will it matter now, because, in the now, it's not going to matter anyway. It's going to matter 5 to 10 years from now. What is it going to matter 5 to 10 years from now without that compulsive lying, Luciferian, bullshit artist conning everybody and leading people down a dead end? What will that do for humanity 5 to 10 years from now? That's why I hope for him and his stupid family to die. But it doesn't suggest that it always works like that either. Maybe that is short-sighted. Maybe David Icke's death would just make things worse, because then Alex Jones will get all the airwave attention. Then Alex Jones will hold a monopoly on the conspiracy theory market. And Alex Jones is by no means any better than David Icke. So, all of that has to be taken into consideration. And I don't think that the wars and the murders and the perpetuation of global tyranny and banking and economy think about this alchemy of our spiritual evolution. I don't think they take into consideration all the possibilities and all the varying degrees of level that go into every facet of creation. It's a chain reaction. It's the butterfly effect. And I'm not going to say that we will ever perfect it. We are not psychic. We can't predict the future. But we can assess positive versus negative consequences. And that's why I support SOPA Act. And that's why I support the NDAA and all these other bills. Because in retrospect, when you look at how things are now based off the laws, then there needs to be some radical change. And I'd rather, throw a rock into that ripple and, take the risk associated with it than just keep going on the same path and letting things get worse. Because if you think things are bad now, they're going to get worse because they're just going to become more integrated and more solidified into our daily lives. You will get more accustomed to them. You will have to get more used to them because they won't go anywhere. The longer they're there, the longer they're going to sit there and harden and get worse. So that is what I mean. And I call this the Warhammer 40k theory because it goes well beyond just, war and conflict and, battles and things like that. But I will get into that later about how in life you have to pick your battles, you have to pick your enemies carefully and your allies, and you will be surprised at the strange sorts of alliances and enemies you will make. It won't be what you first suspect, it never is. But all of that goes into my Warhammer 40k theory. It just sounds more catchy that way. But I will try, and I guess that's just part one of that.